And as I said, just because you hide it doesn't mean it's not there.
It's always there. It comes out in ways, it manifests itself in how you deal with people.
That part.
If you drinking too heavy, you smoking a little too much, like all of that is escapism. If you going out eating too much sex, I mean, it manifests itself in all kinds of ways.
Just Heal with Dr. J is going to be a space where we foster healing conversations, conversations that are life enriching, conversations that are going to provoke thought, that's going to provoke change, and also provide insight. And so that's what I'm excited about. Welcome back to another episode of Just Heal with Dr. J, and I am your host, Dr. J. Barnett, and I'm excited about today's guest. I have my great friend. You know her as Miss Cookie, but I know her as T, and all of the many characters that we have been blessed to see her play. But today we're going to have a conversation about healing, and as y'all know, when you come into the healing community, we're talking about things that are impactful for our journey, that can impact our life. And I'm so happy to have my friend Taraji P. Henson joining me with the Healing Community Day. Welcome.
Thank you.
Listen, I am excited about this episode. And this episode, I think that's going to be transformative because May is Mental Health Month. And we have been working together for a number of years under the Boris Henson Foundation, providing free therapy to Black men and Black women. And I just think this conversation is not had enough, even though we're talking about it more. But before I start into the conversation, I always ask every guest, I don't ask them how they're doing. I ask them, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling blessed today. Really happy and excited about today because, of course, we're um, having our symposium and we're helping the kids. And I actually used to go to Oxon Hill High School.
Really?
So I feel really good about giving back to them in this way.
Yeah. And to give back to,
Before we start, can I just say I'm proud of you, Black man?
thank you.
I'm just really, really proud of you. I am.
Thank you. Thank you. And listen, I want to say this to everybody. Y'all only know me because of Taraji.
Well,
Like for real. And so I have to say I'm humble because it was a Black woman, it was you, I think came across one of my videos and then your team reached out to me. This is what 2020, this was 2020.
yeah.
Yeah, and we did the Breakfast Club virtual at that time. And I just want to say thank you for seeing me and for providing the opportunity for the world to know my voice and not just my story, but the voice and the impact that I would have on Black men. It was you. And this is why we need Black women.
And we need y'all. So,
We need each other. We need
period.
each other. Like, and I wish we could settle these wars that we're having online because we're so needed in just building each other.
Yeah, for sure.
You
For
know,
sure.
So you feel blessed. You look amazing.
Thank you.
I don't know what you're drinking, what you're doing, but you look amazing. Like I know you take trips to Bali.
Mm-hmm.
And Bali is your place to really get away and to check out. What has that been for your healing journey?
It's a great place to recenter because it's not a place about vanity. A lot of times when you go overseas, it's about shopping and this and that. And that's not where you go for that. It's literally eat, pray, love. The people are beautiful. They pray over everything. They pray over you. It's a lot of yoga. I mean, the food is from the earth. Everything is clean eating. Um, I just feel so nurtured. We call it Mother Bali because the land is so nurturing. But that has become my place to go when I need to recenter,
Yeah.
to get away from it all because it's very far.
Yeah. Now, when you go, how long are you gone?
The first time I stayed for a month. The second time I went for like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a quick trip because it takes about 24 hours to get there.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. And when you go there and you recenter yourself, how does your spirit feels to step away from America?
Let me just tell you this. The first time I went, I landed at some weird hour in the morning. They had a herbal bath waiting for me. I took it. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning by the time I unpacked and got into bed. I slept for 12 hours. Can I tell you the last time I slept through like 12 straight hours? I since probably in my 20s when I was going to the clubs and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, 12 straight hours. And I never could sleep that peacefully in the States.
Wow. Do you feel because of the chaos and the noise is why many of us can't rest?
Absolutely. I literally remember after my month stay, it felt like it went so fast. And I remember I was crying, packing, coming back. I did not want to come back. And as soon as I got back to America, it was a mass shooting in Chinatown in LA. I was like,
And I remember texting you when you come back and you was just saying, I did not want to come back
did
to
not
this.
want to come back.
Did not want to come. Dude,
I heard a doctor say if you ever find yourself diagnosed with cancer and you want to survive, the first thing you got to do is leave America.
what?
Yes. He said that's the first thing you have to do. He didn't go into the medicines, he didn't go into holistic. He said the first thing you must do is leave America.
Wow. You know, uh, I'm writing this book and it's titled I actually just got agreed to the terms. This is my first major book deal. And I'm excited about this because the book is about pursuing pace. And the subtitle is In a World That's Not Slowing Down. And as you were speaking about the doctor saying you got to leave here, we're in such a hurry and there's such stress that we have day to day. And I'm saying to myself, how do we ever find pace? How did you create pace in your busy world?
I where I live is very peaceful. My house is sits on a hill, away from the noise. I don't hear any street traffic. It's my sanctuary. And I had a friend who's very clairvoyant say that he saw like Native Americans around the property in spirit protecting it. So, I would have friends fly in from out of town and they would come in all stressed and they come to my house and they would be like, "Oh my God, I just feel so peaceful." And when I was living in Chicago, I would, working on that show could be kind of crazy when I was on Empire. I would go to LA back to my house to regather myself. So that's literally my sanctuary is home. I have 2 dogs. I just got a new puppy. Lord, why did I do that?
You got a dog, yeah.
I have Frenchies,
Okay,
2 Frenchies,
yeah.
and, they're my joy, simple things. Nothing, it ain't about going to a spa or any of that. I work out a lot, which for me is more about my mental than the aesthetics, because it releases those good endorphins. Um, so simple, keeping everything really simple. I have my playroom, which is my salon.
Mhm.
When I was a little girl, we couldn't afford nothing. And so I always promised myself when I got older, I would make a room where I could play and I would buy all the things that I couldn't afford when I was a kid. And it's my salon and I have my little doll heads that I go in there and I work. It's just where I don't want to tell all my business. But
I love that.
yeah, it's my space. I mean, the world could be burning up and I'd be in my salon having fun with my doll heads.
Like, I like that because it's almost like you get to connect back to the little girl.
Absolutely. Reached out to Tyler Perry one time. I said, while the world is burning up, I'm in here watching Madea movies and I turned the camera around and show. He said, wow, Taraji, that's you protected, letting that taking care of that little TJ, little girl. And I was like, absolutely.
Y Man, oh god, this is so rich because I'm sitting here thinking about, childhood wounds and childhood traumas and all those different things, and I don't think we realize as we're aging that we're either doing one or two things. We're either running from the little boy or little girl, or we're trying to replace or give the little boy or little girl what they didn't have at that particular time. And as you were talking about sitting there and playing with the doll heads, does that bring a level of peace to the little girl inside of you?
I forget. I don't. My office be trying to reach me. And the phone will be buzzing and I get annoyed because I don't want to deal with that. And then I'll be like, hello, they like, you gotta come out of that room. You have to answer these questions. You gotta sign these documents. And they know when they can't find me, they know that's where I am.
Yeah.
You know, it just brings me so much peace and joy, and that's where was during the pandemic. Like I literally stayed in my salon.
Is that how you got through the pandemic?
That's how I got through it.
So what I'm hearing you saying is healing is a part of us also reconnecting to our childhood in some sort.
You said I look how youthful I look because I never let that little girl inside of me die. I go outside and run outside with the dogs. I still play like a kid. I laugh, I love jokes. I love funny. I love laughing. I laugh at
Yeah.
myself. I don't take myself too seriously. That's the stuff that keeps you young
It
and
is.
stops you from being so hard.
Yeah, because I was reading, I was doing something about black men and aging, and this new data said the average life expectancy for black men is 61.5, 10 years less of white males, which is 72. And we're not, we always hear black don't crack,
Right.
but internally we're cracking. And when you're talking about aging, what has been one of the ways that you realize that it's the secret to remaining youthful as we're aging and as we are evolving? What things are you doing? I know you're working out. I know you go to Bali to retreat. What other things have you discovered?
Going to bed at 7.
I love it. Listen, when I tell you on Friday nights, I am so excited to go to bed like 8 o'clock on Friday.
Um, that's every night. And so my mother clowned me one time because I caught FaceTime during. She was like, "You in bed already?" It was 7 o'clock, and I was like, yeah." I'm telling you, this my favorite time of the day. I be dancing to the bed.
Man, isn't that something? And I remember when we was kids, you hated it.
Hate it. Hate some nights I'm in bed by 6:30 because I'm like, I'm done with my day. Like I'm done answering questions. I'm done answering questions. I'm done, with emails. I'm ready to go to bed. And my dogs they're so used to 7. They eat at 7 and they go right to their crates because they know mama finna shut it down.
Listen, I was my mom, she goes to bed at like 6:30 or 7, and she said, "Baby, the day is over."
It's over. It's a wrap. What else you want from me?
So
What else?
and I'm laughing because, my mom, her and her husband, and she was like, he'll be in there, and going back to the childhood thing, so he likes doing puzzles. And he likes science projects. So he goes and buys these science projects. And she's like, "Babe, I'm in the bed." I said, "What Mr. Charlie doing?" "Oh, baby Charlie in there playing with his little t-" She said, "I'm going to bed." Because I don't think we realize that we are sleeping, but we don't rest.
Mhm. Mhm.
We're not resting.
Yeah. And you know what? I cut out the alcohol too. I not that I was a heavy drinker, but I just can't recover. I can't. With the recovery, even if I have wine, the next day I'm like, and it's just like, what's the point? So I enjoy my mocktails. But I noticed since I stopped drinking, I have lucid dreams. I can't remember the last time I used to dream like this. And I wake up the next day and I remember my dreams. Like I'll get up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, go back to sleep, and continue the dream. The same dream.
And I've often heard doctors talk about how alcohol, we don't think about it, even just with wine, but just how it can be one of the most deadliest, and not just from a physical perspective, but cognitively, the brain doesn't function the same.
It just does not. It doesn't.
So for you, what is a good time now when you go out? You having mocktails? Is that enough for you?
That's enough for me. But see, now we live in a society where if you're not drinking, something's wrong. Girl, why you not drinking?
Yeah.
So to remedy that, I go straight to the bar and I get a seltzer water, put a lime in it. Bam. So nobody's asking me questions. But I found out that I can really enjoy myself sober. Like because you know why? I remember what I did the night before. When I was drinking, and people be like, "Girl, remember what you said?" I'm like, "I said that. I did that." Like I want to know I want to know what I did. Like, then as you're aging, I'm like, does that mean I'm getting Alzheimer's? That's not that's our fear. So once I proved to myself that I could really still go out and really enjoy. In fact, I think I had more fun because I remember it.
Yeah. And you're present.
Very present. I have not clocked out. But the people that are inebriated be talking to me, and I'm like, "You think they really think they making sense?"
Mm.
Mm.
And you feel like, especially in
But I don't judge,
yeah, right, exactly.
I don't judge. I just, I'm like, "Dang, that used to be me."
Now, let me ask you this. When you were drinking, do you feel like it was part of just kind of escape?
Social, yeah, absolutely, and it was the thing to do. Like, it's like going out and drinking is hand in hand. Like,
Yeah.
even going to dinner and have a girl, first thing you do is out. The first thing they offer you, would you like some cocktails? Here's the drink menu, you know. And I found it interesting. I'm gonna tell you when I started thinking about the sobriety was when I went to the Paris Olympics. There was no alcohol at any of the games, at any of the gymnasiums. No alcohol.
Wow.
And I found that people were present. There were no drunken fights because you fighting, you rooting for your country and this one rooting for you, getting into these arguments. I mean, it was the most peaceful and pleasant experience I had at a sporting event.
Wow. And I didn't even, yeah, I wouldn't even think that how present you could be without the
Yeah.
alcohol.
It's very present.
Wow. You know, speak about being present. Uh, I've known you and Tracy for a number of years. You guys love each other out loud. Uh, Most people don't have what you guys have, the years of friendship that you guys have. Like I'm usually talking to people that's they're changing friends every 2 to 3 years, and then best friends. How important has the friendship for you um, on your healing journey? Because I often tell clients, or just even in my circle, that you can't heal without a community. How important is the friendship and having people who can be present?
Yeah. Well, she's been very important for me throughout our friendship, throughout life, because I was the hothead. I'm like, punch that bitch in the throat. Yes. And she like, bring it to zero, come back, find your zero. You know what I mean? She's a Libra, so she actually balanced me. And I'm a Virgo, and I get heady, and I'm very analytical. And so she helped me work through that as a kid. And we can be very judgmental. She worked with me on that. So I'm a very conscious Virgo. You know what I mean? I know how to check myself when that part of my astrological sign shows up. You know what I mean? Because of her. You know, and going through what I go through in the industry, it's good to have someone to check in on me because I'm good at pretending. I have to. I have to show up to work and put on that smile even though I'm dying inside. You know what I mean? And so because I have someone who understands that, just by the sound of my hello, she will pull up, you know. Pam, you met Pam.
Yeah.
She will pull up. Like, you don't sound right. I don't care what's going on out there. I need to come look at them eyes. And it's important to have people like that because it's easy to isolate. It's so easy. And I isolate well. I told you where I live on the hilltop away from everything. But you know what I'm saying? So you have to have people to check on you because sometimes I don't even know that I'm not right until she break because I'm so used to being on, you know. She was like, "You good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." She's like, "No, you're not." And then that forces me to check. You know what? I do feel a little off. So it's very important. I said that to the kids out at Copeland University yesterday. I was like, y'all check on each other. Don't let your friends or your people in your circle suffer. If they don't sound right, don't look right, check on them. Pull up.
Yeah.
You could be saving a life.
That's what I miss most about the elders
Yeah.
is my grandmother used to say, baby, come by, let me lay eyes on you. And here's how they knew that something was going on, because you would stay away.
Yep.
Because the moment they saw you, you know that they would see you. And we need people that will call us and say, let me lay eyes on me, and to feel your energy and to feel where your spirit is. And the Surgeon General Vivek talks a lot about this epidemic of loneliness that we have. And there's so many lonely people. There's such loneliness. And we would think that we're more connected because we have phones. But as I like to say, I think we are overly connected but underly commune
Absolutely.
because we don't have real connections. We don't have real people that really have this level of sagaciousness, discernment to say, you know what, something's off with you.
Yep.
And when we don't have that, this is why we have a lot of people who just feel nobody cares. And I think they're not giving the space for people. How important and I want this to really be loud for sisters to hear that it's okay to allow yourself to be truly seen and men to be seen to say, hey, I need somebody to sit with me.
I think we have, especially Black people, we have been trained and conditioned through our trauma to be strong and put on this front like, "Ain't I'm good," but I always say the strength is in vulnerability. When you're able to be vulnerable and speak your truth, that's what draws more people in because people are afraid to do that. A lot of people are afraid to do that, but you have to because being strong all the time will break you. We're not buildings. We are not here. We're not built like a structure like this. We're not supposed to be strong all the time. Yeah, there's sometimes when you have to pull it together, but you can't do that all the time. It's humanly impossible.
It is. It is. I I want to ask you this. You started the Boris Henson Foundation because of your dad. And
Who was a man who was very strong, but was not afraid to be vulnerable. He would cry. He would talk about when he didn't feel right. I mean, he wore his heart on his sleeve. He was incredible. I miss him so much. I'm sorry I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh no, no, you good. No, I'm glad that you shared that. Knowing what you've done and you have pioneered a space in the mental health realm and you have created opportunities for these conversations. I often say it was you and Charlemagne who really championed the space for blacks because no one had never seen any one of you guys caliber be open about your challenges. What would your dad say today if he could see the work that
Can
you've
I be
done?
honest? Cause
Yeah.
is anybody gonna be offended with the N-word? He called everybody nigga. He be like, "Look, nigga, I'm proud of you." That's exactly. I can hear him in my dreams. Sometimes he comes to me so vividly in my. That's another thing I hadn't dreamt about my father in so long, and I stopped drinking. And I've been having very lucid dreams where I see him, I hear him. The last dream I had about him, he had come to visit. This is the only house he had never seen. Passed away before I got this house. And he had come to visit and he was building hedges around all my windows. He was like, nah, because they building the mall down the way. And them little niggas gonna be trying to come up here and rob you. So I had to pretend, but that was him letting me know in spirit he's still protecting me.
Protecting.
Yeah, but that's what he would say.
Wow. I love it. I love it. Hey, hey, little nigga, you doing it? That sound like my grandmama. Well, man, that is so beautiful. This question I'll ask all the guests, and I asked this question. The podcast is Just Heal with Dr. J. You've been open about your healing journey. I've been open about my healing journey, and I asked myself this question, and it was one that I had to take a deep breath and deep sigh. When you think about healing, what does healing means to you, to Taraji? See?
Well, I tell you this, it ain't all pretty, because you're going to have to open up some scars that hurt and you're going to have to go to some ugly places. But the only way to get through it is to get through it. You can't go under it, you can't go over, you can't avoid it because eventually it's going to implode. Eventually it's going to overtake you. So you have to go through the muck to get through to the other side. They always say, I know it's cliche, after every storm the sun comes out. Gotta go through the storm first. But that's how you have to undo. And undoing sometimes can be very uncomfortable. You have to have very uncomfortable conversations with yourself, with people, who helped with the trauma. But, it can be tough but you can do it.
Yeah.
If I could do it, if Jay can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Because it's in you to do it and it's your responsibility.
Yes.
You know, you can't keep blaming everybody, especially at a big grown age. At some point, you have to take responsibility for your healing. You must,
Yes.
you know?
Do you feel a lot of people are afraid to take
Oh,
responsibility?
absolutely, because they're scared to go through the storm. You know, they think somehow sweeping things under the carpet is gonna make it good,
Yeah.
but, you know,
And as I said, just because you hide it doesn't mean it's not there.
it's always there. It comes out in ways, you know, it manifests itself in how you deal with people.
That part.
If you drinking too heavy, you smoking a little too much, like, all of that is escapism. If you going out eating too much sex, I mean, it manifests itself in all kinds of ways, so you gotta deal with it.
Yes, you got to deal with it because if you don't deal with it,
Gonna deal with you.
it's going to deal with you.
Deal with you, and it's going to affect your health. You have a nervous system.
Come on, talk about
I
it.
mean, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a
Come on,
doctor,
talk about it.
but I am a doctor, but, you
Yes.
know, because
Yes.
what is it with honorary?
Yes, yes, you are.
Right. But I'm not that kind of doctor. But I do know you have a nervous system and your body listens to your brain, you know? And so if you're not feeding yourself good information, it's gonna show up in your body. You said when I was, you look good. What fountain you drinking from? I said the fountain of peace.
Peace, the fountain of peace. You hear that?
I protect my peace at all costs. If you're not on a healing journey, I can't talk to you. Bye-bye. I can't do it.
Can't do it because it costs too much.
It cost me my peace, and I'm not willing to give that up. I finally got here. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, you better exhale. I finally got here. You know how hard and how long and how much effed up stuff I had to go through to get here? Like, I finally got here, and I'm just not gonna let anybody disturb me from my peace.
Man. See, when I tell you I love that for you and to see your journey, and that's really what I was telling CJ. I said, man, I really want us all to get to a place where we're just not stuck on survival
Yeah.
and we're not stuck on, just trying to figure it out each time and just like allowing ourselves to have this level of peace where we know what it's like to just breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's gonna take us to heal us. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna come and save us.
Yeah.
And I think what we're doing, the work that we're doing is so important because we're allowing people to the freedom to feel the feels and to talk about it in the open. Because once upon a time, this wasn't talked about like this.
No, it wasn't. No.
You know, everybody was pretending to be strong and act like they have it together, especially celebrities or people in the limelight, because people on the outside look in and think, oh, they have everything.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you something, like the great guru Biggie Smalls said, more money, more problems. Cause money does not the rich people, the filthy rich, they the most unhealed, unhealthy folk walking the universe. Cause money can't fix it.
It can't. Bishop Jakes told me this is recently. He said, I was telling him about the podcast and he was excited and everything I'm doing. And he looked at me and he said, you don't realize how much we need it. He said, I don't know. And he said, you know what type of people I'm connected to, Jay. He said, I don't know anybody that's at peace right now.
Listen.
And I mean, he was in his fashion. I don't know anybody that's at peace. You gotta do this. And I'm like, Bishop, because he said, think about celebrities and the entertainers and all these high levels, especially for black people who are under this umbrella of a black excellence that I think oftentimes is really blanket in black anxiety.
Ooh, a chill went up my spine when you say that.
Because there's this pressure to keep performing.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know anybody that's at peace right now. So to hear you come in and say, I'm drinking from the fountain of peace.
Baby, listen. I'm not even dating right now. Somebody was like, "You not dating?" No, I'm not dealing with nobody's unhealed son. Can I get an amen? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Because I'm telling you, I've had my house renovated, right? And I found this incredible black couple out of the South to come in and to design the interior. And they are incredible. But I told them in the beginning, I said, "I want it to look like a straight girl house. When you come in here, if I start dating, I don't want no dude to feel like, oh, yeah, I can know you can't move up in here." In fact, guess what? I don't even have a drawer for your stuff. I don't have a drawer because my stuff is in all the drawers. So pack your bag when you come and pack it up when you go.
Yeah.
And, I'm even thinking about, like, the marriage thing, like, I don't even know if I need the stresses of that in my life. Lifetime partner for sure, but at this big old age, I'm not having kids, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I want a partner. I don't know if I want the papers to go. I don't know if I want that.
Yes.
No, I'm not saying I don't want a man. I need to be very clear with you.
But that's real though, T. That's real because at at this season and at this juncture, the work you've done, and I often tell people the work that you've done, you would have to undo this to deal with somebody who hasn't done work, who's afraid to do work, and then who's not really committed to the work.
And I'm not willing to do that.
They'll start going to therapy just because you talked about it, but you're not really committed because if you really going to therapy because I brought it up, but you're not really interested in growing and evolving. And if you're not with somebody that is committed to their own journey,
Yeah, then I can't help you, because 'cause I'm not willing to give up my peace. I fought too hard to get here. I'm just not willing. I I even do this, like, there's certain things that I will go to in the industry and certain things that I won't. The first question I ask is this gonna cost me any parts of my peace? Because if it is, I don't have to go. I don't have to go. I don't care.
yes. It's funny you say that because I started telling my manager that I said to leave my house now, you got to pay me to leave my peace because my home I've created such serene just it's I'm living my place overlooked the water. It's just I if I leave, man, and it's not even about the bag anymore.
I was about to say that because it could be a bag, and I'd be like, "That sounds like chaos. Give it to somebody else." I've turned down jobs as directors. Energy is transferable. And so what I do as an artist, like, I have to open up chakras. I let these characters come inside my body and use my body as a vessel to tell their story. That's a very vulnerable place to be.
Really.
So if I don't feel like I'm protected, if I don't feel like I'm going to be protected in an environment that is nurturing to the process, I will turn it down
I know that's right.
cuz I can't sacrifice myself like that.
Man. Especially for these up and coming artists who feel like they have to listen. If I haven't learned anything else on my journey from you, from Tracy, from all of the people that mentor me, they always say, man, be very particular about what you say yes to.
And everything ain't about a dollar. Like, be careful what you ask for. You be very specific, be very clear on what you're asking for. Like these kids, they see the limelight. They don't realize we're still real people going through real stuff. Like, it's not just you become an actor and all of a sudden life is pristine and it's no, you go, you put on the show, and then you still go back home to the mess you left. That's I think it's harder for what we do because we have to show up
Yes.
and pretend like everything's there have been times when I was going through hell in scenes that you've seen me in movies. My life was in shambles, but I had to pretend like everything was okay. That is the hardest thing to do, and it strips your soul. I can't explain it. You just there were times where I just felt so empty and lost, you know, because there was no safe landing for me. It was always show up, you got to be on, you got to show the people everything's okay, and it's like, but I'm not. I'm not okay.
As you're talking, one of the characters that stand out to me when you were talking about just being at a place where it's like your life is in shambles. The other day I was watching Hustle and Flow,
Oh,
and that character, I mean, was just I mean, you can see this push and this pull, but you can see this love, you can see this care, but you can also see the vulnerability because she was at, you know what I mean, his, at the mercy of him, of DJ. Was that and it's just a little bit about that. How was that? Because I'm sure there's this war between the character and the reality. You know what I mean?
Well, for me, when I first got the script, I remember John Singleton, may he rest in peace, I miss you so much. He was like, "I need your eyes." He always told me about my eyes. He was like, "You don't have to do much, you just have to think it, and the camera's gonna do the rest." Because I came from theater, so I was very big. But, I'm glad he said it like that, and he was like, "You pick the character you wanna play," and of course, Lexus, the loud mouth with the blonde hair, that character, of course, she jumped off the page because she was loud about it. But when he said, "I need your eyes," it's very specific, and that's when I leaned into Suge because she was the quiet mouse, and then I started thinking about the women who choose, because I don't think people, some women are forced into sex working and some choose to do that, you know? But I started thinking about her, and I was thinking about this one in particular, and I was thinking about, ooh, who didn't love her?
Mm.
Because she just seemed like someone who did not feel seen,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that's how I played it. I played the why. And so for her to turn tricks, it was her way of giving love because no one loved her. And so that's what you saw in her. And I was like, I want people to want to reach through this screen and hug her.
Hug it. Yes.
I said, I want people to see this diamond in the rough because that's what all people who aren't seen, they are diamonds. We're all diamonds. You know, it takes pressure to make a diamond, right? But if you're not seen, if no one takes care, find the diamond and dust it off, and then it'll just be a dirty rock, right? And so that's how I played her. I played the why. And that's how you gain the empathy of an audience. Even with the worst character in the world, a villain, if you play the why, then the audience will feel for even the villain.
Yes.
But there's always a why a person is the way they are. But I just knew that she had been through a lot of mistreatment and abuse, probably, and just thrown away and tossed aside and treated like property. You know, that's why that moment in the studio when she hears her voice for the first time is
The
like,
look. Oh man, that when I tell you that part broke me because I'm thinking from a healing perspective is that most people just want to know that their voice matters.
right. Because the director was very smart. Craig Brewer, I love you. But the director was very smart because I remember I did this and he ran in and whispered in my ear. He said, "Put your hand on your mouth." And I did that. And it was almost like that came out of my mouth. Like, so he was tracking what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You know? That was a very special project for me. And I got paid nothing for it. But those independent films, you do it for other reasons. It was the story for me.
But all of that, and as you're talking, all of that just really stood out for me because it was the first time that I ever watched a film from a clinical or from a psychoanalytical perspective, and I was looking at the characters because sometimes I'll do that because it really helps me to really connect with people, even in speaking, because most people, if you have not been seen, if you have not been heard, you don't feel valuable. And in that moment, Suge felt like, "Hey, I'm somebody."
I could be somebody. I could do something. I could do more than what I'm doing. Like,
Yes.
you saw her come alive.
That's what you have done for so many people in the mental health space.
I hope so.
No, there's no hope. You have done that. You have helped so many people heal and especially during the time of the pandemic where people needed somebody to talk to. I believe people wasn't just looking for therapy, people just was looking for space
Yeah.
where they can share unapologetically and just to really have an environment where it's like, man, I don't have to be whatever roles or titles that and I just want to say thank you for taking out the time to come on this podcast, Just
You
Heal
knew I was coming.
Listen, listen. I know I love you. I mean your love you and Tracy. Y'all have just been so amazing. And it was y'all because when Will reached out about the podcast and I'm telling you, I was just like, man, I don't know if I want to do it. I didn't know if it would be a space because I was like, man,
Oh, I was gonna make you do it because he came to my trailer when we were on fight night. He was like, "Do you know any men who are in the mental health space?" I said, "I sure do right now." And I sent him your page. I said, "This is the guy you want." I said, "He already has an audience. The men already trust him. You know, it's nothing. It's not new. I said, "That's who you want. Tap him right away." Well, I didn't even pause when he asked.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you and keep being a light that you are to the world because in this climate,
Mhm.
we need it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I like to acknowledge not what you do, but just who you are because acting is just that's a gift, but who you are as a person because you have to have a real heart to care about more than just yourself and what you've done with the foundation and even what you continue to do, you care about more than just yourself. And I know your father's proud to do this in the honor of him. And then just for us as a people who need so much healing, but you have blazed a trail for us to do it and to continue to doing it because again it was a black woman and it would be you go down in history. Taraji started this movement, so I just want to say thank you for starting the movement and allowing me to be a part of it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. So again, to all of my healers, listen, please subscribe. You can watch Just Heal Dr. J on my YouTube channel, Just Heal Dr. J, or you can listen audibly on The Black Effect and iHeart, Just Heal with Dr. J. And until next time, remember, healing is a journey and wholeness is the destination.